welcome to Monsignor Crane, Division I of the Ancient Order of Hibernians here in Mercer County, New Jersey, at Hamilton, New Jersey. I'm Sean Pender, a proud member of this division, and I'm also honored to be the National President of the Ancient Order of Hibernians. We are very proud of our grounds and our club here. And here in our grotto, we have a lot of stuff that typifies the Ancient Order of Hibernians. We have a stone that marks the importance of vocations. We have our stations of the cross. We have a Celtic cross that has been dedicated to the leaders of 1916 and the hunger strikers of 1981, and also a marker that was placed in 2016 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of 1916 and the contributions of Irish America and labor to Irish freedom. But I'm standing in front of Our Lady of Knock Shrine, which I think typifies the best our Irish and heritage and faith. This shrine is very important to all of us here, and is very important also to my family. During the time that we were trying to adopt my son, we came down here and prayed to Our Lady for help and for guidance. In fact, once my son was born, we brought him to Our Lady of Knock's shrine to thank Our Lady for interceding and making us a family. In fact, in the spot I'm standing, my son first met his two grandfathers here almost over 20 years ago. So I thought of no better way as I start this journey to lead this great organization to use this as an example of our Irish heritage and our faith. So I'd like to introduce our National Chaplain, Father Martin O'Reilly from St. Mary's in Bordentown by way of County Monaghan, to give us some reflections on Our Lady of Knock. Father?
Thank you, Sean. Dear friends, it's a great privilege and a pleasure to be and an honor to be chaplain to the President of the Ancient Order of Hibernians here in the United States of America. As Sean has already mentioned, there are a number of core factors that really, in a way, make up the Ancient Order of Hibernians, and faith is one of those cornerstones, that no meeting begins and no meeting ends without acknowledgement of St. Patrick and St. Bridget, and to our Blessed Mother and to Christ Jesus himself. Now, this grotto here behind me, as you can see, has three statues, and many of you will know the history of those statues if you have been to Knock and you have seen these statues. One is of our Blessed Mother, which is in the center, and to the right of her is St. Joseph, her husband, and to the left is St. John the Evangelist. But what is missing from here is the Eucharist in itself, and with the Lamb in its presence. And that is what is very much unique to the apparition that took place in Knock in 1879, because oftentimes we've heard of the apparitions where our Blessed Mother appeared herself, but in this one, Jesus also came too. And what is also unique about this apparition as well is that there were no words spoken. And many people have questioned and queried and wondered. Many reasonings have been given. One being such as that no words were necessary because the Blessed Sacrament was there in itself, and it speaks for itself, that the Blessed Sacrament, the Eucharist, is what Jesus had given to his disciples, knowing what it was that they were to face the next day, knowing what it was that lay ahead. And Jesus knew that they needed food, they needed sustenance, they would need him to help them through the difficulties of life. Now, if any of you again knows the history of Ireland, you know the troubles, you know the trials, you know the tribulations that they have had to experience. So in 1879, you were just coming off, in a sense, the back of An Gcomhta Mór, the Great Hunger, where millions of people were literally allowed to starve to death on the highways and byways of Ireland. Many others were forced to emigrate, and many made their ways here to America. So the apparition at Knock in many ways was God, in a sense, showing God's solidarity to the people of Ireland and reassuring them that God was with them, letting them see, in a sense, that the reason why the Eucharist was a part of this apparition is that God will feed the hungry of Ireland, giving them the sustenance, giving them the nourishment, giving them the strength that they would need to be able to endure such hardship, such affliction. Now, if any of you have been to Ireland in the year 2024 or even most recently, you would see how Ireland has flourished. But unfortunately, like so many other things, we may have forgotten who it was that was the source of that food, who it was that fed and nourished us. But with that aside, the other explanation that others have given as well of why it was that nothing was said, why Our Lady never spoke at Knock, is again, you look at the history of Ireland. You see, wherever it is that Our Lady had appeared right across the world was usually in a place where there had been great poverty or great persecution. Ireland was experiencing both poverty and persecution. And one of the things that the Irish people were being denied, and they were being denied a lot, was the use of their language. They were not allowed to speak it. You were not allowed to be taught it in school. It was seen as a backward language of no value and of no use. Many children were punished if they were to speak the Irish language. So their thought is that whenever Our Lady and whenever Joseph and John the Evangelist and Christ himself appeared in Ireland, they never spoke. Because if they weren't allowed to speak the language of the people, and if they were forced to speak a foreign language, then they themselves would not speak it. In solidarity with the Irish people, affirming them in their faith and affirming them in their loyalty to their Catholic faith, that God was with them. And the Eucharist, as we all know, is the cornerstone of the Catholic faith. So that's why Christ in the Eucharist appeared in Knock as well. In many ways, to congratulate or to affirm and to, in a sense, show that love and solidarity that God has had for the Irish people and for their perseverance and for their loyalty to the faith. So this grotto here really does resonate with all that's good about the ancient order of Hibernians. And as I said, faith is the cornerstone of their existence. And not just in prayer, but also in example, like their charitable work, their outreach to the weak and the vulnerable, to defend the rights of others, both socially and politically. And many of their campaigns have bore fruit. When we look at the Good Friday Agreement, the ancient order of Hibernians have really been at the core of that. They in themselves also have wonderful awards like the Sean McBride Award, recognizing the rights of workers and all those who defend the rights of workers. All of that is based on the principle of Christianity. All of that is based on the teachings of Jesus Christ. All of that has, in a sense, been a core and the fabric of the ancient order of Hibernians. So again, I say it's a great privilege and a pleasure to be the National Chaplain of the Ancient Order of Hibernians, because they do good work. They do Christ's work.